Hello, my name's Lara and I'm 32 years old. I got divorced from my very toxic husband, Ross, a year ago, and he recently resurfaced in my life, but I made sure that he would get hell for it. But before I tell you what happened, let me give you some backstory on him. I met Ross when I had just graduated college. We met because of a dating app and we ended up clicking really well. We went on a few more dates and before I knew it, we were in a happy relationship. If I had to describe our relationship with one word, it would be blissful. Ross was so attentive and caring. We barely ever fought, and in hindsight, I think it was because of how nicely he treated me that I felt obligated to give him everything he ever wanted, even if it went against my wishes. What's worse is that Ross was my first real adult relationship, so I had no idea about what was a good thing and what wasn't. Anyways, our relationship blossomed and bloomed over the next 5 years. We moved in together at the 3 years together mark and got engaged at the 5-year mark. Of course, I was beyond surprised and overjoyed when Ross proposed to me. We got married shortly after, and I felt like our relationship only got better after marriage. We both got promotions at our respective jobs and we began to live a lot more comfortably than we did before. Around 3 years into our marriage, Ross approached me about something that was on his mind. "Sweetie, something's been on my mind." "Yeah, I could tell. I was just waiting for you to come to me about it." "Well, we've been married for 3 years now and I was just thinking that I want to have kids." "Kids?" "Well, I mean, sure, but we don't have any form of savings." "Sure, but let's be honest, we earn more than enough to sustain us and a child." "That seems a bit risky, don't you think?" "No, I don't think so. I've done my calculations and it seems pretty feasible." The fact that you're using the word seems tells me that it's a risk, Ross. Okay, I've seen you invest in a bunch of risky things without thinking this much. What's the real reason you're fighting me on this? Those risky things that I invest in are things that I can make up for over the course of a few months. A child is a very, very long-term investment that will have consequences if things go wrong. Sure, but think about how nice it will be to wake up to the laughter of a child. There will be a lot of crying before that laughter happens, Ross. Do you know that parents have an average of 2 hours of sleep in the first year of a child? I mean, I'm sure we can do that. It'll all be worth it in the end. What about our careers? Your career won't halt, but mine will definitely. And let me tell you that I don't want that happening at all. Are you seriously putting your career over being a mother? Obviously. How else will we be able to provide for a child? As just 2 people, we cannot survive on your pay alone. Adding a baby to that would not work, ever. Okay, fine. I can meet you in the middle. How about we take another year to save as much as we can? When we have enough, we can start trying for a baby. I still don't want to do that. You're stretching me thin here, Lara. I'm trying to compromise, but you're just not cooperating with me. I would, but you're not even listening to a word I'm saying. If we can't cooperate, then I don't know if we're going to last. Are you seriously threatening to end our marriage because I'm refusing to get pregnant? I've always dreamt of having kids. I've always wanted to raise them and have all those happy moments that I see so much among other parents. If you won't agree to give me that, I don't see why we should continue. This is an insane conversation. Are you even hearing yourself? How about I give you a week to think about it? I have to go now. Bye. If I'm being honest, I never really thought about having kids. I didn't think I was going to be a good mother. Besides, I never really wanted to experience pregnancy. I know every woman talks about how it's a beautiful process, but I watched my mother struggle through her pregnancy with my brother when I was 10 years old. And I think that affected me enough to never want to get pregnant. I wouldn't have minded thinking about it, but with the way that Ross provided me with an ultimatum, just made me feel icky. I would never have done that to him if I needed something that bad. But that entire week that Ross gave me to think about having kids, he ignored me and barely talked to me. In hindsight, I should have realized that it was another way for Ross to manipulate me into giving him what he wanted. I felt so terrible and horrible because it was our first big fight. I eventually gave in and agreed to start for a child. As soon as I agreed, Ross went right back to being his usual loving self. Seeing him back to his original self made me feel like I had made the right decision. We began trying 6 months later after saving for a long time. After about 4 months, we still had no results. Ross began to get irritated and angry with me, and I desperately wanted to avoid another fight. So I suggested we go to the doctor and get both of our reproductive health checked. We waited for around a week for our results. Ross's results were normal and good, and we were still waiting on mine. Finally, I got the call and I was told that I had severe PCOS, and as a result, I would not be able to carry a baby, if I even managed to get pregnant. I was devastated, not because I couldn't get pregnant, but because I was terrified of how Ross was going to react. What did the doctor say? I need you to sit down. Why? Please, just listen to me. Lara, you're really scaring me. The doctor told me that I have pretty aggressive PCOS. Okay, and? That means that I'm infertile. What? Yeah, I will not be able to have kids, ever. That can't be right. There must be some kind of treatment to help you out. This can't be the end. There isn't. How can you be so sure? You didn't even ask the doctor. I did. She told me that we could give it a shot, but the chances of there being any results are slim to none. Slim chances are better than no chances. Well, yes, but even if I do get pregnant, the pregnancy would be very risky for both me and the baby. All I'm hearing is that you can get pregnant. Do you really want to jeopardize my life to have a baby? Oh, come on, Lara. Medicine has advanced enough to save both you and the baby. Are you actually being serious right now? Lara, you know my dream. I've never wanted anything more than this. You want it enough to put me in danger? Do you even love me, or do you just see me as a baby-making machine? Of course I love you. I want what's best for us. Do you even love me? If I didn't love you, I wouldn't have tried this hard for a baby, Ross. You don't want what's best for us. You want what's best for you. Yes, and what's best for me has always been best for us. Do you not care about how I feel about this all? I'm struggling with this new information, and all you seem to care about is continuing trying. I don't care about your feelings. What about my feelings? You're being impossible right now. Are you hearing yourself? Look, you either try for the baby or we're done. You can't keep forcing me to do things by threatening to leave me. I'm not threatening you with anything. I'm laying out the facts for you. You either try or we're done. Why are you doing this? I want to be able to do what I've always wanted. I'll call the doctor and see when we can fix an appointment for the treatment. I never agreed, or I'll just swing by a lawyer and start the divorce process. Could you at least give me time to think about it? I'll check with the doctor and see when the appointment can be made. You have until the appointment time to decide. I was beyond shocked at the way Ross reacted. I expected him to care for me and tell me that things would work out. But to lash out at me for something that wasn't in my control? To force me to do something that I wasn't on board with at all? Not to mention, I was sure that he planned on using all that we saved up for those treatments and more. The next appointment available for the doctor was 2 months later. I had 2 entire months to make that decision, and in those months I did thorough research on the side effects and the process of those treatments. Of course, the treatments did not promise guaranteed pregnancy, but it would give me a chance to get pregnant. Once again, Ross treated me like I did not exist for the next month because I never made a decision. So just like last time, I gave in. The treatments worked. I got pregnant almost immediately after we started it. Except that my body couldn't hold on to the pregnancy. I got 3 months in and then miscarried. I was devastated and Ross got upset with me, but he comforted me enough to make me want to try again. I'll save you all the gross details, but I got pregnant another 3 times, the longest being 5 months, and I miscarried all of them. I was tired. My body was exhausted and barely functioning. My mental health was a joke, and what did not help was Ross being a jerk to me. I tried my best to placate him, but he just got angrier and angrier with me. One day, as I was sitting in bed crying because I was severely unwell in my mind, Ross lashed out at me big time. "Why can't you keep a damn baby inside you?" "Excuse me?" "It's clearly not that hard. I've seen my sister go through 4 pregnancies and give birth to all of them. Why can't you do that?" "The doctor and I warned you that this would happen. Why are you blaming me?" "Because you're the one with a malfunctioning body." "What?" "The next pregnancy better be a successful one, or so help me God." "I'm not getting pregnant a second time." "What? Why not?" "Because, Ross, you have no idea what it's like to lose child after child. My mental health is practically a joke right now." "Oh, get over yourself, Laura." "Why don't you get over yourself? You're putting me through so much pain and heartache, all because you want to accomplish your dream." "What's so wrong about wanting to accomplish your dream? Hell, I supported you when you wanted to change jobs and when you wanted to get a diploma because you had always dreamed of it." "None of that hurt you, though. This is plain torture for me." "Accomplishing a dream is necessary no matter what. As my wife, you're supposed to support me." "As my husband, you're supposed to care for me and not put me in danger. Besides, there are many other ways to accomplish your dream." "Oh, really? Like what?" "Like adoption or even surrogacy. Why do I have to be the one that gets pregnant?" "I can't believe that you would even suggest those options to me." "Why? What's so wrong with what I said?" "I don't want to raise a kid that's not mine. And surrogacy is just plain gross. The child needs to develop a connection with you, not some random lady." "Look, why don't you do a little more research about it and decide on something later? All I know is that I'm not getting pregnant again. We've run out of all the money we saved up for the child on these expensive treatments. Maybe we'll wait another year and we'll look at other ways to have a child." "So that's it? This is the end of the conversation?" "I can't keep having this conversation. I'm tired. I'm going to go to sleep." I knew that my argument about trying other ways to have children was not unsound. It was in fact going to be way more feasible for us. But if I knew anything from the way that Ross had been behaving the last year and a half, it was that Ross was very stubborn, and he made sure that he was going to get what he wanted. I was very burnt out, and I could not keep talking about it. For the first time ever, I actively avoided talking to Ross. I was glad that he was doing the same to me as well, because I knew that meant he was not bringing up my getting pregnant again. If there was one thing I knew for sure, it was that I was not letting myself go through that again. We did not speak to each other for 2 weeks. The tension in the house only grew with every day that passed. Finally, I gave in and talked to Ross. "Can we please talk? You've been ignoring me for way too long." "You ended our last conversation, so you should have been the one to start the next one." Are you seriously being this childish? Don't you see how much stress having a baby has been putting on us and our relationship? We went from never fighting to it being a miracle if we had a normal conversation for just 1 minute. And whose fault is that? You're the one that can't seem to keep a pregnancy. If you could, we'd be happily living as a family of 3 right now. Why can't we just look into other options? Oh, I have looked at other options. Really? What is it? Have you made your mind up about what to do? I have. I'm divorcing you. What? I told you that I'd leave you if you couldn't give me children. Ross, that's insane. You're going to throw away an almost decade-long relationship because you refuse to make a compromise about something as arbitrary as children? It is not just that. Ever since you lost our first baby, I was filled with this big feeling of disgust towards you. What? Why? Because you struggled to fulfill your duty as a woman and give me the baby I deserve. So you really only did see me as a way to have a child? Of course. It's beyond disgusting that you can't do one simple thing. You know what? Maybe it is for the best that we're going to get a divorce. Figured, of course. You're being disrespectful towards me and lashing out. You're delusional. I'm just at my wit's end with you and your lack of empathy or even just sympathy. How can I be sympathetic towards a woman who can't even give me a baby? You know what? I don't think you deserve to even be called a woman. Wow. I'm going to go pack my things up and stay somewhere else. Send the divorce papers my way whenever you get them. I became numb the second that Ross told me he was looking into divorcing me. I was very emotionally drained and did not have it in me to try to convince Ross to stay. I saw him for who he truly was, and I knew that I couldn't keep doing that any longer. I packed my bags and made my way to my mother's house. She was there for me through the divorce and helped me deal with the after effects of losing multiple pregnancies. I got served with the divorce papers just 1 week after I left Ross, and I signed them without feeling an ounce of sadness. The next year was a very tough one for me to go through. Of course, the first thing I did was to sign myself up for therapy because getting through every day became harder and harder. And it only got worse when I found out through social media that Ross had gotten someone else pregnant and got married to her. I felt like such a huge failure, but as the year passed, I gradually learned to deal with my grief. I moved out from my mom's place and got an apartment all to myself. Just as I was finally beginning to let loose and live my life once again, Ross came knocking on my door. "What are you doing here?" I came here to say sorry for everything that I put you through." "How did you even find my address?" "Does that really matter? Does your apology really matter? No. Why are you even apologizing? Do you have your dream life right now?" "You've been keeping tabs on me?" "No. Your wife was very jealous of me, so she sent me a bunch of pictures of your wedding and her pregnancy and your babies. I was surprised that she had twins. You always wanted more than one kid, right?" "That's just like her. But sincerely, I'm sorry." "I don't care. You mean nothing to me, and I see no reason why I have to keep talking to you right now." "Wait, I regret it." "Regret?" "I regret having children." "Oh, wow. Why?" "You were right. There's such a handful, not only physically but also emotionally and especially financially." "Well, you asked for it, so make sure you follow through with your commitment." "I can't." "What?" "I didn't realize just how much work and commitment they were. With every night that passes, my regret only grows. I can't help but think back to how right you were, and every time I thought about you, my heart would skip a beat." "What are you even saying?" "What I'm saying is that I realized that I'm still very deeply in love with you. I guess it's true what they say, you never realize what you've lost until it's gone. I was in a horrible place at the time, and I put you through it for me, I'm so sorry, and if you could please just take me back, I would love it. You know what? I would take you back, but it's disgusting that you can't fulfill your duty as a man and father, and I don't want to deal with that. Are you really throwing back what I said to you? Just like how you stood up for what you like, I'm standing up for myself too. Do you really not miss us? Ross, after you left, my life only got better. I got myself into therapy and I realized that you were nothing but an oppressive force that worked to make my life an absolute hell. I realized that I never deserved that kind of treatment, and I promised myself that I would never let myself be treated that way again. You're a sad, pathetic man who'd do anything and put anyone in danger to get what you want. Leave me alone and go back to your new life. If I ever see you here again, I will get the cops involved. Goodbye. I genuinely couldn't believe that Ross came back that way. If anything, it only gave me further perspective to look at the way he had treated me for so long during our marriage. I mean, I knew he was narcissistic, but to this extent? He showed me yet again that if I did end up having kids with him, he would have left me because he'd realized that he never wanted it. No matter what I had done, he would have still left me. And boy, am I glad that I got to escape that nightmare. I can't imagine how I would have lived if I had a child to take care of all by myself. Of course, Ross managed to find my number in the same way that he found my address, and he began harassing me over text. He sent me pictures of the two of us and kept asking me if seeing the pictures did not make me miss him and our relationship. If I'm being really honest, it did not. After seeing Ross's real colors, I could not even bring myself to see our relationship in a good light. With every picture of us that I saw, I was reminded of many other instances where Ross made sure he got his way. Trip to New York instead of Hawaii because Ross wanted it. Wearing a dress instead of a pretty romper on my 30th birthday because Ross wanted it. Hell, even painting our room blue instead of a cool tone gray because Ross wanted it. And to get what he wanted, he would manipulate me and make me feel like absolute crap. I only became angrier with each picture of us that I saw, so I took screenshots of every single text he sent me and then blocked him. I sent those screenshots to his wife, who I found on Instagram. She thanked me profusely for exposing her husband because apparently he had been a very crappy father, and she was suspicious of his long working hours and constant need to be on the phone. Even though I never asked for it, she kept me updated on what she was doing to punish Ross. She was the one who had a financial advantage and was pursuing as much child support as she could get from him. She also sent everyone that the both of them knew, including Ross's family, the screenshots that I had sent her. Ross has been successfully abandoned by everyone in his life. Nothing brings me bigger joy than this outcome. I'm glad that Ross was finally going to get a taste of his own medicine. I made sure to put my phone on Do Not Disturb and only allowed those in my contacts to reach me. That ensured that Ross could not contact me even if he had my number. Life has been feeling a lot better now, knowing that Ross got what he deserved. I've been happier, and I'm excited to see what else life has in store for me.